Cas.
And I'm Arya, and welcome to our podcast, Wayward Sisters.
So today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into everybody's favorite fictional couple, Destiel.
Destiel!
Who's excited? Not me.
Who's excited? Definitely you.
Yeah, no, okay. I love them, I really do, but this note is way too long. There's too much to say about them.
I will say, just as a, beginning, we are going to be referencing seasons. We're going to be referencing seasons 4 through 15, and we will be saying episode names. So if you don't want to get spoiled, be aware that we're going to be going deep diving into these. So all of our friends who haven't finished the everything, don't listen.
Either this part or next episode will be tackling season 15, episode 18. So if you have not finished it, either we'll tell you, but skip that part. And we will tell you when we run up on that part of the episode, I promise. Because it got spoiled for me, and that was a whole world of hurt.
I spoiled it for myself.
We're so funny.
We're so funny. Okay. The first thing on the list is the meeting of Destiel. Season 4, episode 1, Lazarus Rising.
Fan favorite episode. Everybody loves it. I have not met a single Supernatural stan who did not like Lazarus Rising, although I don't talk to Wincesties, so that could be my fault.
I just love the idea that the first casting Destiel fanfiction was written the night that the episode came out.
It was published the night the episode came out.
It was published the night the episode came out. I'm like...
But here's the thing. Who wrote it? Misha, I'm looking at you. Misha, you're the only one who knew what was the cast. I'm looking at y'all.
Oh, no, Misha thought he was only going to be in for like 3 episodes.
And that's why he did that voice, and he immediately regretted it after he got renewed. But that's fine. It's fine. We love... Misha, if you are listening to this, my darling, I love your voice. Both of them. All of them.
even empty Cas.
Don't even get me started. I love empty Cas with everything in my soul. I love that fucking accent so much. No, because that accent, it's not even real.
It's not.
Aside from Cas himself, empty Cas is the gayest we ever got. And you cannot convince me otherwise.
Oh, so I was watching, Lazarus Rising, and I was just like, he's so badass. I mean, he's a badass angel, he's the leader of a garrison and whatever. But I'm just like, looking back on the rest of the seasons, he's so serious, and I'm just like, there's this little clip in my head going about Misha saying that the writers kind of catered to his awkwardness with Cas, so Cas just became more just socially incompetent, and I love that so much, but the contrast was just hilarious to me. I was laughing my ass off.
And the way that none of the other angels that ever came on the show were like that. So he was the only, socially inept angel. He was the only angel who could not figure out human mannerisms.
Oh, it's adorable. He learned them from Dean. Like, when he was mad, he would cross his arms and glare.
Just that one scene where he goes, in the words of a dear friend, and he leans forward, bite me.
He's very dear.
Okay, the next thing on the list
Should we stick to the list?
Yes, yes. Oh,
all of those little I'll go with yous, which are always like, you're gonna die, so I'll die too. Shut up. Get out.
I mean, he loves him. Cas loves Dean so much. He's just like, I can't bear to live if you aren't alive. So,
It's that little extra bit of fruity in your Fruity Pebbles this morning. Like, come on, guys. You couldn't fool us after season 4. You thought by season 15 there was no going back. Oh, spoiler warning for 15, 18. The the last I'll go with you is so heart-wrenching, just absolutely painful. Every time I rewatch that episode, which we've been over this, I rewatch it too much for my own good.
yes.
Every time I rewatch it, it's that last I'll go with you, Dean, that really just shatters my heart into pieces. But it also doesn't help that I have the confession speech memorized, so.
Yeah.
She likes to call me a masochist.
I finished watching the whole series December of 2020, and that was the last time I watched that episode. Now fast forward almost a year and a half, and I watch it again, and I'm like, I'm just dying inside. Okay, I have not watched a single episode from season 15 since December of 2020. Okay,
you're welcome for that one.
Oh my god,
good job.
I cannot take you anywhere, not even your own house.
I'm sorry, I have a cat on my lap. Okay, she says hello. Look at that face, though.
Whatever.
Okay. Next on the list. I'd rather have you cursed or not.
The amount of explicitly romantic lines that they have with each other, but the writers threw in like a buddy or a pal or man or whatever just to make it not romantic.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Because that scene, he goes, I'd rather have you, cursed or not. And he goes, and then he stops for a second, thanks, and he goes, and anyways, nut up, we're all cursed. We're like, dude, can you just say that you love him?
And that little look that Cas gives Dean, he's just like,
it's the realization that Dean reciprocates for Cas. It's that like, aw, he loves me back. I'm sorry, the cat leg in the frame is really distracting. It's fine, this is great. But there's just so many of the explicitly romantic, and all of the times, like when Cas killed Billy, and he was like, I can't lose another Winchester, like the world needs every Winchester it can get, you mean too much to me, and then it cuts straight to Dean, and then when he's dying it's season 12, I think it's season 12, when Mary takes them on a hunt and almost gets Cas killed. That's either season 10 or season 12, and I don't remember. But that, first of all, turning point with Mary Winchester, that was the, like, going from, I don't really like her, like, she's kind of a shitty person, but I don't like her, to the, oh my god, I hope she dies a slow, painful, horrible death. I hate her. But that deathbed I love you from Cas, the I love you, and then
I love all of you.
I love all of you. But also the cut straight to Dean after the I love you. You're trying to tell me he didn't love him before season 15? Okay,
no, not at all. Okay, I wasn't even a Destiel shipper. Like, I had heard of it. I mean, I watched all the panels on YouTube before I ever watched a single episode. But, so I spoiled a lot for myself. And I was just like, Destiel is just all those Tumblr people making everything gay. Right? And
I went into the show. I didn't ship Destiel when I started watching. I was just like, oh, look, a gay couple.
And then season 4 came around, and I'm just like, I see it now. How can there be any dispute?
Season 4 came in, I was like, queers.
No, here's the thing though, like, the differentiation is so obvious. Like, Cas does not, like, interact the same with Sam as he does Dean. Okay? Like, you can chalk that up to, Cas raising Dean from perdition and everything. But, like, honestly though, I was doing the math earlier. Like, they said that Dean was in hell for 4 months, 40 years. For 30 of them, he was being tortured. For 10 of them, he was doing the torturing. And at what point in that did Cas come along and raise him from perdition? You know?
Like, so how long did that take, guys?
It's like, they said that the angels immediately assaulted heaven when Dean got, dragged down to hell. So it took him, I'm thinking almost 40 hell years to get to Dean, and then they probably just shot him up in maybe a couple months. I don't know, it was real quick. I was like, that doesn't really make sense, because if they had to fight their way down, they had to fight their way back up, and there was this whole thing with Dean remembering every second of hell, and then he got out. Like, no memory of Castiel. And I'm just like, how does that work?
Somebody got a brain Windex. But it's fine.
Woo.
We all know how the writers continue to be. Oh, did you see the prequel got their pilot order as of yesterday?
I did! Yeah. I am interested to see how that'll go.
Am I going to watch the pilot? Yes, because Dean is going to narrate. So,
I don't know.
Pure morbid curiosity, I'm going to watch it. Because I need to know.
Me too. Except here's the thing. I have, it's like the whole thing with, I don't want to bring this up, but the whole thing with Jared Padalecki. I know about it, but I don't want to, know it. And it's just, I have done no reading on it whatsoever.
I spend too much time on Twitter to not have an intimate knowledge of what happened. Because as you are the Instagram person, I am the Twitter person. Mm-hmm. So if you were wondering who runs which social media platform, you'll be able to tell. I promise. But I know what happened, and I know that I don't like Jared Padalecki as a person. But I'm struggling right now with they got the pilot order yesterday, and Jensen posted something on Instagram and, tagged Jared and congratulated him, whatever. It was like, hey, congrats, I know we, fought, whatever, but congratulations on getting a prequel, which Walker does not need a prequel. There's only 2 seasons. But when Jen posted something on her story congratulating Jared on the Walker prequel, nothing congratulating Jensen and Daniil. Nothing. Radio silence. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of shitty. At least Jensen and Daniil were being, mature about it. Daniil was like, congrats to my, to Jensen and getting the prequel. I'm so proud of you. And congrats to Jared. We'd love to see you succeed. And then Jen was like, good job, Jared. Radio silence on Jensen and Daniil. In case you didn't know which side of the fandom we were on. But it's not like it's that big of a deal. I mean, it is that big of a deal, but that's not what we're going to talk about.
Destiel, get back on track.
I would like to... So, since we were talking about Mary Winchester, whom I very much don't like, I would like to address all of the times that her, Sam, and Dean all walked into a room and Cas went, Dean! All 3 of them were standing there, and the only one our little angel cares about is Dean, which me too. But let's be honest. let's let's be honest with ourselves here. Cass, I'm looking at you. you, you can't you there's just nothing about them that you can't be like, "Oh, they're in love with each other." There's not a
Oh my
single
gosh, no.
there's not a single scene that they're together, like even like a conversation that they have. None of them can pass off as friendship. They are all like these two are clearly in love with each other, which I have a little game that I like to play when I rewatch. I call it how many times can you replace Dean saying buddy, pal, or man to Cass that could be replaced with babe? And spoiler alert, all of them. Every last time Dean calls Cass buddy, pal, or man, they could be replaced with a like babe, baby, something.
Because he totally called Cass baby.
The time the time Dean called him Sunshine will live forever in my heart, and that is where I get all of my serotonin every day.
And they're the one time we called him Huggy Bear.
And Sam whipped around like, what the fuck?
He's like, what?
Hashtag shipper Sam. Which is very evident in season 10. Cass Dean, shut your face, get in the car.
Shut your face, get in the car. No, see, one of my favorite points with the whole, Dean walks into the room with someone else, and he's like, Dean, is when they meet Mary. So Mary's coming back to the bunker, and, Cass thinks that Dean's dead. And he goes, and, Mary's just like, who are you? And Dean comes in, he's just like, oh, forgets everything, forgets that there's a gun pointed at him, and he's just like, oh, Dean! Goes, grabs him, and the biggest hug ever, and
it's so heartwarming. And then Dean having like a, Cass, we can't be gay in front of my mom moment of like, okay. And then he's just like, okay. and then the little introduction, and Dean's like, this is Mary Winchester, and Cass goes, your mother? Like, very much like a boyfriend who just did not make a good first impression with the parent.
It's like, ah, shit. Okay.
It's like, that was your mom, and you couldn't have told me. You couldn't have led with that. Like, dude, you know what Mary Winchester looked like.
I mean, you've obviously seen the pictures. You've done, movie nights.
Cass
You've been
being
in Dean's room.
is not a new concept.
Oh, no.
Also, just the pure amount of parallels really just gets me going. My favorite being the Dean and Cass parallels to Sam and Jess. Really gets
me. Who are soulmates.
The one from the pilot episode to All Along the Watchtower. The one, where for Sam, Dean pulling him out of the dorms, and then for Dean, it's pulling him back through that rift in time and space. And it just kills me every time. It's like, oh.
Oh, and when Sam kept seeing Jess just walking around, and that whole thing after, Dean's getting out of purgatory, they're driving down the road and they see Cass. It's the exact same thing, okay? And, like, I will bet my life.
And Dean literally is so shaken that he stops baby in the middle of the road, parks, gets out, and, like, walks around for a second looking for Cass.
He was so sure.
He was like, no, I saw him. He was right there. But it's fine. It's fine. I don't want to talk about this, but I feel like I should. When Cass dies at the end of season 12, and they put so much emphasis on Dean's grief. Like, you can even see it when they burn Cass's body. Like, Sam is sad, and like, yes, he's grieving his best friend who just died very brutally in front of him. Dean is just pure, like, broken inside, and you can see it on his face, and there's just no emotion, just pure, like, he is just broken. Like, Sam is crying. Sam lost his best friend, but Dean just lost the love of his life for like the third time. But and then like when Cass gets stabbed and Dean falls to his knees next to Cass's dead body. Ah!
I love them so much. I really do.
Well, and there's the whole thing with, like, he's listing off the people they've lost. We've lost Mom, we've lost Crowley,
Like
and Cass
Kelly,
and he can't even say
he
that
can
Cass
never
is dead.
bring himself to say that Cass is dead.
Which
Even...
is a parallel to, I think it was Dean was narrating something about John and how John never could admit that Mary died.
Right, he could never say that Mary died. He would always say that she was gone, never that she was dead. And he never, even after 1518, he never says that Cass is dead. He says he's gone and that he saved him. Ah! Just them. Them. But
them.
Like the first 6 episodes of season 13, and especially the fight between Sam and Dean about Jack, and like what about Cass? It's like Jack manipulated him. He had him believing in paradise on earth, and what did that get him? It got him dead. And now you might be able to forget about that, but I can't. Why couldn't he forget about it? And Sam could, because Dean was in love with him and Sam wasn't.
But also the
arc, like the parallel between Dean and Jack and John and Dean once Cass and Mary had died, and Dean going all drill sergeant on Jack. And even Sam pointed it out. He's like, dude, you're turning into dad. And Dean was like, so what's your point? It worked great with me.
I mean, his dad losing, like, Mary and then becoming a drill sergeant, you know, falling back on those angry instincts, and then Dean losing Cass. Like, you can't say there isn't a connection there.
You can't say that it was friendly, because yes, he was Sam's best friend, but he was the love of Dean's life. And after we meet Cass, and after season 6, after he leaves Lisa again to go back to Sam, after Lisa, there is not another love interest for Dean. There's not another love interest. It's just him and Cass, because as we all know, they got married on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it's just also in 13:5 when he's in Billy's library, and they have the whole like "you wanna die" conversation. First of all, painful for the audience. Thanks a lot, guys. Second of all, the next episode, he's fucking geeking out over a cowboy hotel room.
Just like, I'm so happy that we got Cass back. That's a win.
Yeah, but I love the little scene where Jack goes, he really likes cowboys. And Cass just sighs and goes, yes, he does.
Like such an exasperated husband. Like,
it's not
this man
Sam.
has been through it.
It's not Sam, who's like grown up with Dean, probably being forced to watch these movies whenever they came on the TV, like when they were in the motels or whatever. No, okay? It's Cass. And he's just like, yeah, Dean's made me watch every single one of these, and he dresses up of them, and he'll occasionally just pop up in a little cowboy accent, and he's just so disgruntled.
Can we talk about how Supernatural
wife
had Cass dress up as Dean's kinks twice?
Doctor and
Tombstone
cowboy
and Dr. Novak. This man, they really said, we don't want you to believe that they're romantically involved, but we're gonna have Cass dress up as the two things that Dean finds the most attractive.
But 13-6, Tombstone was just such a good episode. Like, all in all around, plot aside, was such a good episode. Like, the cowboy hats, Dean actually so happy that entire episode. He was in his favorite city with his favorite person.
Who just, got alived. No, but me screaming at you over text last night when I was watching the episode, I'm like, Dean looks so good.
But, he does. He looks so good in that episode. But so does...
Oh my
God. Okay, I will never get over... I can't... Misha's cowboy walk. Making fun of it at one of the panels. Just... he was just imitating Tombstone.
Just said Dean, but I meant Jensen. But Jensen making fun of him, and Misha proceeding to make fun of Jensen's bow legs. Like, it's just,
Oh, so Dean does this thing where when Cas does something he likes, he does a swallow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. He kind of shifts, and he's like, yes, okay. Like, the whole thing when he came back from purgatory, and he got all cleaned up, and he just shifted entirely in his seat, swallowed real big, smiled just this really weak smile. He's just like, oh, yeah.
And the head nod, and the shift, and the covering his crotch with his fist.
That was the moment, I think. I was just like, yeah, okay, it's mutual, it's happening, they married.
Mm-hmm.
He does the same thing in Tombstone. He's like, I'm your Huckleberry. And Dean's just
swallow and the quick nod. Like, yeah, exactly.
Tombstone, the movie with Kurt Russell. I made you watch it. They had movie night.
You need to watch that movie. It's actually really good.
I know, we've been over that. I'll watch it eventually.
It's now been recorded, and you have to watch it now.
Okay. Well, okay. I think it's like the first or second episode of season 13. I think it's the first episode because Jack is still wandering around naked.
Yes, that's the first episode.
But he's out back behind that restaurant. Dean is out behind that restaurant, and he's praying to Chuck, obviously, because why not? And he goes, "We lost everything, and now you're going to bring him back." I would like to acknowledge the fact that he goes, everything, and then instead of saying you're going to bring them back, he says him. He's talking about Cas. Cas was his everything. And you know what? It's okay, because Cas is my everything.
Oh, that's just hard.
Her significant other recently started watching Supernatural, and they reached Lazarus Rising last night, and they well, actually, I would like to amend that statement. They sent me the clip of Cas's entrance, and I got so excited. I was like, oh my god, it's Cas! Like I've never seen this man's entrance before, and I've seen it 1,000 times. Literally. And they were so excited about Cas's wing scene, and it was so funny because they were like, do the lightning, show the wings. I want to see the wings, and like you can hear them talking in the back of the clip. So you hear them go, do the lightning, show me the wings. I want to see the wings, and I'm like, me too, because there's not a single wing scene that isn't so attractive.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna throw Michael Dean. Yeah, yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Dean, did I say that I'm a Dean girl? Okay.
Yes, we've been there.
I mean, the outfit, the nice suit, the nice hair. Okay,
when
it's like close.
You know the little
it's close to 1940s
thingy he's got.
When
yeah,
and he spins it around his finger and catches it. That was so fun. Also, all of Cas's knife flips ever are attractive.
I don't know what it is with broken men with knives. It's so fucking hot.
Anyway,
oh my gosh, I just want to put a note in there that post Michael Dean, that whole look with the with the vest and the unbuttoned white shirt collar and whatever,
And a little
the
bit of
hottest
stubble.
version of Dean in the entire show. I'm sorry, just putting that out there.
Physically attractive, yes. For Demon Dean, like
Demon
that
Dean.
is the, like, that's like the hottest, like, vibe. Do you know what I mean?
Vibe?
Like,
Well-
watching him was like, oh my god.
Everything about him was just wrong, though. His hair was part of the
Hair was
different
part of
way.
the wrong way. Can we talk about Cassifer?
She knows how I feel about Cassifer, and I
agree.
tell all of you how much I love him. That Misha's hair was different for Cassifer. It stood up more. So he looked so good. And the one episode where he didn't have the trench coat or the suit, jacket, blazer, whatever you want to call it, and he had the tie off and the shirt unbuttoned and the sleeves rolled up.
Oh my god!
Which completely leads us back to what we were supposed to be talking about, is that he was distracting Dean from the whole Lucifer possessing Cas by undressing.
He's like,
Okay.
let me strip.
Like, I got the trench coat off, I got the suit jacket off, I got the tie off. Like, I'm practically naked.
I think season 11 was the best season for their relationship because I think it, especially once Dean figured out that it wasn't Cas and that it was Lucifer, like how much he actually needed Cas, and like the end of season 11 when Amara rips Lucifer from Cas's body and the just change in facial expression on Jensen's face that he is able to do. Go from like angry and like willing to beat the shit out of this man to like, oh my god, it's Cas. And he does the same facial expression change in the episode where they have Cassifer trapped in the ring of holy fire and stuff. And
oh yeah.
And they're like,
With
Cas!
oh my
when Lucifer
Cas!
mocks him.
which is so fucking funny to me. I really enjoy it a lot.
It's amazing.
Do I rewatch the Cassifer episodes religiously? Yes. Because there's just, it's content. The scene where Misha sits in that other guy's lap was unscripted.
I
He
know!
wasn't supposed to sit in that guy's lap, and yet he did it because it's Misha Collins. What do you?
And
Misha's
the angels
Twitter,
in the
as of
back
right
just
now-
falling apart.
Misha's Twitter right now is so unhinged. Have you seen it?
I'm not on Twitter. Well, I am, but
Girl.
I'm never on it.
Misha has tweeted like 3 times in the last couple of days about how much he likes to be on top. So that's how we've been doing. Misha has been giving us all the content. Calling a rodent an attention whore was really a good one.
Oh, yeah.
So- And Bridgewater, his podcast just won an award the other day, so I'm assuming
that's
we can
awesome.
count down the minutes till we get another "I like to be on top" tweet.
But whatever. So back on track. The mixtape. And we all know how much I hate John and Mary Winchester, but I'm gonna give them this one little thing. That they fell in love because John knew all of the words to every Led Zeppelin song. And Mary was like, oh shit, he's hot and he knows the music. And the same thing with Cas. Gave him a mixtape with his favorite Led Zeppelin songs on it. And then when Cas tried to give it back, and that was kind of their like reconciliation of like, and Dean was about to cry. You can hear Jensen's voice.
Oh, yeah.
shaking. He was like, we were worried, and that's not okay. And it's just so sweet and so like purely romantic. And that's the thing about their relationship as well, is it's not that sexual. It's purely romantic.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And just how much they love each other. and it's so sweet, and I love them so much. They're just adorable.
Oh my gosh.
They're
Oh.
actually like the sweetest fictional couple that I have ever come across in my life.
And there's never been a single couple that I've backed so hard.
No, literally.
Okay.
Like a lot of the ships that I have
Backed in my day, because I've been around, obviously. There have been a lot of ships that I have backed that could be easily disproven. Like I was a Broadway kid for a really long time, and if any of you are familiar with, she just shook her head at me. If any of you are familiar with Newsies, you all know that Race and Spot are heavily shipped, and there's no backing for that whatsoever. And I was like, this is undeniable. But that was easily disproven. And I understand that I'm going off on a tangent right now because I wanted to tell you about them. But but like Dean and Cas, if you can
indisputable.
If you can find evidence to dispute it, that's a big ol' if. I have rewatched the whole series probably twice now, like for the most part, and there's just no evidence that they are not in love with each other. There's none. Like, even before it went canon, there was just nothing. And it was unintentional on the writer's part because they couldn't write a freaking friendship. They couldn't write a friendship, so it ended up being the most perfect romance I've ever seen unfold.
Gosh, it's just this intense slow burn.
It's this beautiful slow burn romance that you watch unfold over 12 years, and you're like, ah! And it goes canon in the worst way possible, but at least it's canon, you know?
Yeah. The whole drama, okay? Like, I think I had caught up to when the last episode dropped. I watched it the week after. And then I was just all over social media and just the daily, is it canon? Is it not canon? The whole thing with the Spanish, the rogue Spanish
not
subtitler.
The rogue Spanish subtitler.
It's just, is it canon? Is it not canon? And we were just like, the uproar.
It's canon and it has been for 12 years.
Out of water. But also all of the parallels between Dean and Cas and one of them being dead, and then to other forms of media and their reaction to having a dead spouse. I think it's Chuck's monologue episode when you see the alternate version of Sam and Dean and they're arguing, and it's Dean is after everything we've lost, after Cas, after I had to bury him in a Malik box, how many times, I'm just going to throw it out there, how many times do you hear someone go, after I had to bury, insert name, that isn't in a romantic sense? Every time on a show or in a movie, someone's ever since I had to bury, my love interest, things have gone to shit. And that's how they are. It's just, it's so explicitly romantic before it was explicitly romantic.
Oh, yeah. It's all the little things. I relate to Dean in an emotional sense in such a large way. I can totally tell where he comes from with his stubbornness, with his, he doesn't show attachment very well, but when he does, it's the smallest of things, okay? He'll give gifts, he'll hang out with you, he'll be the most annoying little shit. But
me
but it's just
day and night about the shit that you already know.
It's Dean just doesn't like being so openly emotional and saying hey, I love you, because he's so afraid, one, of losing him, two, of being ridiculed for it, and three, he's just not over. He's a closeted bi.
Oh, yeah.
So he just doesn't want to. I think he still has this like fear of his dad. I don't think his dad really supported any of that. And
for sure. And like,
Dean definitely tried to come out when he was in his 20s. Like, see, like the pilot episode when he gets bent over that cop car by those cops, he was so excited. He was so happy. That smile on his face, he was a little shit. And then, like, I was watching it recently. I watched it last night. It was I think it was season 10. Yeah, because it was the Stein family. He got arrested, and there was nothing excited about being manhandled on that face. Nothing. Which, obviously, I mean, we all know that episode he was under the Mark of Cain's control and very angry about losing Charlie. But
I mean,
also
that was really just emphasizing his like
deals with
natural
grief
being.
is so
yeah, the way Dean deals with grief is so sad to me. Like, obviously, it's sad. He's grieving, but like he's not sad. He gets angry, which I understand. I get angry more than I am sad most days, but it's just, especially after Charlie got murdered and the whole funeral scene, and Sam was trying to like say a few nice words and whatever, and Dean's like, shut up, you don't get to be sorry. Which, first of all, the first time I watched it, I was cheering him on. I was like, you tell him Sam doesn't get to mourn. This was his fault. Which I would like let the record show that it is still Sam's fault that Charlie is dead. He dragged her into that and he got her killed. But I don't think it's fair to say that you don't get to mourn, because she was his friend too, but she was Dean's little sister that he never had.
Yeah.
You got someone who he held so, like, he cherished Charlie, absolutely adored her, because, like, and you got her killed. Speaking of Charlie, because I want to change the subject.
absolutely.
Speaking of Charlie, that montage when they took her on her first hunt, and she's like, what about Castiel? He's dreamy. And I would just like to say that, as we all know, Charlie is a lesbian, canon lesbian, has a girlfriend, whatever. And she didn't call Cass dreamy because she thought he was dreamy.
She called him dreamy because she knew that Dean thought he was dreamy.
I love Dean and Charlie's dynamic because she can say whatever the hell she wants to him, and he'll just kind of like get a funny look on his face and then nod and be like, shut up.
Because they're brother and sister, and I love it so much.
I was kind of hit with the realization that Sam, most of the connections that are like to the Winchesters happen through Dean.
Right.
Like, and Sam's just the little brother who tags along.
Sam's just there.
Sam's just there, and he's like friendly. It's like if I took my little brother with me on like a friend thing, like everyone would be friendly with him, and you'd all like have a good time. But the friends are through me, not through him, and that's like the whole thing that comes with Sam and
Dean. How many friends does Sam
social
actually
magnet.
have? How many friends does Sam
He has Rowena.
And Eileen.
He was more... Okay, but Rowena was more like a to him than...
Well, I mean, but like the connection is more so through Sam than it is Dean at that point.
Right.
I would like to bring up Amara and Dean right about now. And him being uncontrollably attracted to her. I hope you could hear those air quotes. But and then the same episode where Cassifer was in the Ring of Holy Fire, whatever, and she's like got Sam and Dean suspended with magic or whatever because she's God's sister, because she can do that. And she's talking to Cassifer, and Dean just yells out for Cass, and he is supposed to be like uncontrollably attracted to her, like to Amara, and like he is supposed to like she's in the room, man cannot function. But as soon as like it comes down to her or Cass, and he yells out for Cass, and you see the shared confusion on Cassifer and Amara's faces.
I'm just like, what just happened?
I
Also,
mean,
like-
nothing, not even the greatest powers in the world can, overpower soulmates.
Right. Oh, sorry, that
Which
made me
is
think
what they
about
are.
Sam and Jess.
That's a different episode. But it's just like the look on their faces, and I have it written down as season 11, episode 18. But it's just the look on Cassifer's face and the pure just disappointment on Amara's face. She's like, "Damn it!" She's like, "Crap." What
Like,
happened?
really? It's
Oh, and when kind of unrelated, but when Cassifer and God are like reconciling and Sam and Dean are just there watching, trying to like mediate, and it's like everything Cassifer's like, everything is because it had to be done or because I said so. He's like, and Dean just goes, "Pretty sure that's all fathers," and Sam's like, "Dude, no." Dean, your daddy issues are showing.
Dean,
Okay, well, here comes the dreaded.
Yeah, I
The
was looking
dreaded
at my
part.
notes page just now, and I was like, "Do I have to?"
I know exactly what you were thinking. So dreaded. Season 15, episode 18.
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Oh,
Okay.
good God.
This is the third to last episode in the entire series. So if you don't want to hear
So far,
this,
we don't know if they'll
Feel
get a season 17. A person can hope.
a person can hope. But if you don't want to listen, please feel free to exit the chat. Okay. So
Please feel free to just hold on till next episode.
See,
we'll see
this
you later.
episode, I watched 5 minutes before we started recording this, and I wouldn't say I'm the most emotional person, but dang, does that scene hit? Okay.
It always does. It never gets any better. I was watching it last night, and just my entire body racked with sobs. Like, I was shaking, I was crying, and a lot of times, okay. So, there's, like, the thing where, like, if your tear falls out of the right eye first, like, it's fake, and it's, like,
Yes.
you're, like, working yourself up, but if it falls out of your left eye, it's, like, genuine sadness and, like, emotion.
Yeah.
I would like you all to know that last night when I watched it was the first time that the tear fell out of my left eye first, because I was just so sad. I can feel the like cry boiling up in my throat right now because it just makes me so sad. And Misha is a great actor. Misha Collins,
It's amazing.
he put everything he had into that confession because that man fought tooth and nail for it. And as he should. He deserved it. But, like, he fought for that and he got it and he put everything he had into it. And I just, it's just, like, the whole scene. And, like, I remember November 5th, 2020, that episode dropped. And I was not part of the fandom at the time, but I remember just the internet exploding. like
Oh, yeah.
like shit hit the fan. But the whole, like, I remember being upset about it, and then at first I was like, oh, they perfectly, like, they captured him confessing to a straight guy. And then I watched the show and I was like, uh-oh. So I watched the confession for the first time a couple of months ago. Actually closer to 1 month ago, but whatever. And I watched it, and it's just like knowing the show as well as a fan does, and especially someone who rewatches that episode constantly for pure pain.
Masochist.
What's it like being a Supernatural fan? I miss feeling happy. Watching it, and you're like, Dean is trying to process all of this information at once. Like, Jack was dying, I made a deal, and it's like, I have to give myself permission to be happy, and then the empty is going to take me forever. And, like, and Dean is trying to process this, and Cas is still fucking talking. So, because there's no time to let Dean process, obviously. I mean, Billy's at the door. You're about to die anyway. Someone's dying. Both of you, maybe.
I think he would have wished that both of them died.
Literally, I bet you while he was sitting on the floor after that scene, like, sobbing.
He was like,
gosh, the sniffles that, you know, that
he definitely sat there just thinking he should have just let me die. Like, he should have just let Billy kill me. But,
watching it, and you're watching Dean try to process all of this, and then the speech of, like, everything you have ever done was for love, the good and the bad. You raised your little brother for love, blah, 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 blah. And Dean is trying to process all of this, like, positive attention that he's getting, which is not obviously something he knows how to do very well.
No, not at all.
Cas is telling him, and then you get to the, like, knowing you has changed me, and the, like, why does this sound like a goodbye?
'Cause it is.
And then you get the I love you, and that is the point where I was on the floor.
And, like, Dean's just like, no, not right now, okay? You cannot be doing this to me right now.
No, literally.
Like, I am not emotionally prepared. And it's just so heart-wrenching. He's just falling apart. Like, his whole being is just crashing.
Like, the gears turning in Dean's mind, and you can see it on his face. And then, like, I honestly and truly believe if we had 5 more seconds for Dean to process, he would have said it back.
He definitely...
This is, you know, I watched it just now, and I was so entirely sure that Cas hugged him. But then he didn't, and I was so heartbroken, and I'm just like, you know, if Cas had gone in for one last hug before pushing him away,
a final
that would have been like the jump start that Dean's brain needed to say, I love you back, or like,
right,
like, you know.
As opposed to the, like,
handprint and then throwing him. Also, I would like to address the way Dean falls is so fucking funny.
Like, I know, his arm just flailed.
But it's fine.
Just the handprint on the jacket. And I heard someone it was either on Tumblr or on Twitter, probably both. They were like, we don't think that Dean saw the handprint until he took the jacket off.
Oh, yeah.
And so
yeah, I
the
saw
next
that.
time we see him without that jacket
is when he's asleep on the floor using a whiskey bottle as a pillow. So, and I really think part of him grieving so hard in 1519 was because of losing Cas, especially after, like, getting officially told that, like, Cas was in love with him. And,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously someone tells you they're in love with you and they die immediately afterwards. It's gonna hurt, but it's not gonna hurt like that unless you reciprocate and didn't get the chance to tell them. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But I really, and especially, like, 1519 hurt really bad, especially with Jack and everything that he did. And I don't know, something about, maybe it's because Alex looks so similar to Misha.
True.
But Jack's little speech at the end of 1519, where he's like, I will be in every rock and every drop of falling rain, and whatever. It really, like, I don't know why it hits me so hard. Could be the religious trauma, I don't know. But, oh my goodness. Like, I love Jack so much.
But, and, you know, I was thinking about the whole, you know, when he was born, the whole thing with Kelly, the vision that he gave Cas, about this pure world of, like, happiness. I think, well, that's what he turned heaven into.
Right.
And I absolutely love that.
The way
so
Cas
much.
deserved so much better than a throwaway line at the end of 1520.
Because just the, like, Cas helped. That's all he got. That man died for Dean Winchester more than once. And that's all he gets? That is all he gets. Oh, it makes me an unsettling level of angry. But
I just wish, because Cass was brought back by Jack as when Jack was a Nephilim, okay?
Right.
He's God now. He can bring Cass back like that.
Right, and he definitely did, because...
He definitely did.
Well, I mean, wasn't there a line that's Cass helped with, the whole...
He's like, Bobby and Dean are talking in heaven, and Dean is like, how is this all like this? And he's like, oh, Jack redid the place. And Dean's like, oh. And then Bobby goes, and Cass helped. And just the look on Dean's face, the sheer joy that, knowing that Cass isn't in the empty forever anymore. That is where it gets me.
See, that's an episode I still will probably never watch again.
I haven't watched
but
it again.
If I remember correctly, when Dean first arrives in heaven, there's this silhouette of a person, and for half a second you think, is that Cass? But it turns out to be Bobby. Am I correct?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm just he wanted Cass to be there. Not Sam, not Bobby, not Charlie, not anyone. He wanted Cass to be there.
Not his parents, not any of his, found family and stuff like that. He wanted Cass, and that is so, profoundly beautiful. And that, I think, the last few episodes really capture what their relationship was. And just how purely, romantic it was, and just how much they were in love with each other. And just, I'm writing a fanfic, and obviously there's a little bit of smut, because that's who I am. But most of it is just, them being so in love with each other. And that's where...
Just a fluff piece.
It's just... they are the sweetest thing. And, all of the times where it's, them... the one scene where they're eating burgers or something, and Dean is you gotta just let your feelings go. He's you just gotta move on, and whatever. And Cass is is that what you do? And Dean goes, that's the opposite of what I do. but I ain't no role model. And Cass just gives him the sweetest look and goes, that's not true. It's just... Aww. They are so sweet, and I just love them so much. That's really what it all comes down to, is they are so sweet.
Oh, yeah. I hope this, proves to everyone, anyone who doesn't believe that Destiel is real, that it is, okay? There's so much. You can write it off as just bad writing, but it's not. I mean, the writers were bad, but it was not bad writing. And Destiel is real. It is irrefutable. And Dean 100% reciprocated it.
Absolutely. And the writers were bad. But it's the bad writing of not being able to write a friendship that gave us a beautiful romance. And that's
we aren't complaining.
Absolutely not, because I love them more than I love myself, which is not saying much now that I think about it. But I do love them very dearly. I love them more than I love my car. How about that?
Yes, more than Sarge.
They are just so perfect for each other. And that's where
it's the most beautiful love story of 12, 15 years. It's just beautiful. Anyway, I think that's where we're going to cut this off.
I'm Cass.
And I'm Arya. And thank you for listening, if you even got this far. I hope you enjoyed our babbles. And next week, we're going to be doing yellow fever and everything that comes with that. So, tune in whenever we post that. And, have a great rest of your day.
Keep an eye on Twitter and on Instagram. And subscribe to the YouTube channel where we will be uploading these until we can work it out with Spotify.
Exactly.